How are we today? I hope that we're good. Today is the very first day that we're going to start stitching for the Stitchalong. So hopefully you have your bow drawn, whichever one that you've decided. And then today we're actually going to draw like 2 or 3 flowers, and we're going to start working on part of one of the flowers. Okay? With this, I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to do maybe 10-15 minutes, and then you can do the rest of the stitch in your own time. Okay? We're normally going to learn just 1 stitch a day. Okay, and I'm going to show you where to do the stitches. So this isn't like we're going to draw it and then I'm going to say, well, here's 1 petal, now you just do the rest of it yourself. There's going to be parts of each flower or stem that we're going to do each day. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Right, so I've got mine like this, and what we're going to do is we're going to do this kind of flower here. Okay, easy peasy. So what you're going to do, I'm going to draw them on here first, and then you can see how to do it. Yeah. So what you're going to do is, these are going to be probably one of the bigger flowers that we do. So there's kind of 3 big flowers. Okay. You can do 1 of each of the big flowers, or you can do kind of 2 big ones and then a couple small ones of the other ones. You can make them any size you want to. It just depends on how you want it to look. But this is the shape we're going to go for. So what you want to do is do a circle, and then another circle inside, like that. Okay? And then we're going to do an N, yeah, or like an upside down U. And you can make these as wide or as long as you want to, okay? Keep in mind that we're going to fill this whole kind of area up like this. So if you make your first flower like ginormous, you're only going to have like 1 or 2 flowers, okay? Which is, it's fine. It's okay. Don't worry, all right? But we're going for this kind of thing. We're going to make a little like this. So this one's quite big. So maybe on this one, I'll do it a little bit smaller. Okay. And then in between each of these petals, you're going to do a tiny, tiny little one like this. And these ones can be quite pointy. Okay, so that's the flower we're going to be drawing today. In this one here, we're only going to be stitching the wider leaves. So these here. But we do have to draw the whole thing so that you know which parts to do, okay? So we're only going to be doing those leaves today, but you need to draw the whole flower on your paper, okay? You can also do, if you feel like this is so easy, oh my goodness, you can also do like a half flower, okay? So like this, and then do the top of it round. So you do like this kind of shape, like that. And then we're going to do maybe 3 or 4. Yeah. And then in between those, do the pointy ones. Okay. That's literally it. So you can do these as big or as small as you want to. You can also make them like a lot of them, but a lot smaller. So even like 4. I'd probably not do any more than 4 just because of how big our hoop is. Okay, so let's go over to this one and we'll draw them on here. So hopefully, if you want to screenshot that, have a look, you can. All right, so let's see here. Let's do 1 kind of to the side. We'll do 1 up and down like this, I think. And then the little pointy bits in the middle. Okay, maybe we'll do just 1 over on this side. So a circle in the middle. Yeah, and then the pointy bits in the middle of that. Okay? Is everyone with me? Have you got it? I hope it's not too difficult. How is everyone tonight? I hope we're good. All right, I'm going to put it in my hoop stand so that we can stitch it together without, there we go, without my hoop like going all around in circles, you know? Okay, so the next part is going to be, oh, it's starting to rain. The next part is going to be, hi, Teresa. I think Sarah said hello too. I've got Connie. Who else is here? Linda, Nellie, Steph, Carrie. Oh my goodness, Brandy. Oh my gosh, so many people. Hello. Hello. Welcome back. Okay, right. So these are the two that I've drawn on mine. Just as a reminder, I did 3 on my other one. I did kind of a bigger one and then a smaller one next to it, and then one kind of up here that way. But you can put as many petals on it as you want to. It can be quite detailed or it can be not so detailed. It's completely up to you. Now we need to pick our color. So if I'm thinking for this one, maybe like a light pink and then like a lighter pink. It's giving florals for spring, like how, you know, what's it called? Breathtaking, or what's it called? What does she say? Someone will know, and they'll be like, Tori, come on. Come on. I want to say like innovative or something like that, but that's not what it is. I've just picked the same color twice, so obviously I want that color. But I'm thinking like something else for the middle part. Even like a red, that could be jazzy. Maybe these two. That's quite nice. Okay, we're only going to do the one for the petals, remember? So I'm going to use this one. So what you want to do when you're doing your embroidery thread, a lot of people make their thread a lot longer than they should. I'm one of those people. But as a kind of rule, if you put your thread like this towards the end and go down to your elbow and then half again, that's kind of like the perfect length, so people say. I don't do that. I do a lot more than I should, but that's okay. So today we're going to do the satin stitch. It's going to be a regular straight satin stitch. And I think we're going to use maybe 3 strands or 4 strands. Let's just see. And to do this, we're just going to pull them apart. We'll do 3 strands because then if you mess up, it'll be okay. And what we're going to do is pull them apart. So as you saw before, we're just going to take them like this and pull them apart. Okay? Get 3 and 3. Like that. And what I like to do is kind of untwist a little bit and just kind of pull them apart. Yeah? You can also do this strand by strand and then put all 3 strands together. So literally take one strand and just pull it out. You're going to say, no, it's going to get twisted. It really doesn't get twisted, I promise. It's good. And then you take all 3 of those strands and put them back together. Some people will say use 2 strands for everything, or use 1 strand for everything, or use 6 strands for everything. Really, you need to do what you like the best, because people who are saying use 2 strands, it's not right, but it's also not wrong. Okay? You need to find what look you like the best. So if you like a more delicate look, then use less strands. If you like it more chunky and thick and textured, then use more strands. Think of strands as kind of like a thickness between like a pencil or a fine tip marker or a thick marker or like a poster board marker. Yeah, that's what you're getting. You're getting different thicknesses of line to work with, just like I showed you the pens. So this one here is the Friction Colors, yeah, like that. And this one here is the fine liner. So you can see how different they are and how much thinner this one is. What is the reason for pulling strands one at a time versus 2 or 3 together? When you pull them 2 or 3 together, they're still a little bit twisted together. So if you see this one here, I've pulled them 3 at a time. So I've got 3 in this one. I've got 3 in the one over there. If you pull them 1 at a time out and then put them all 3 together, they're not twisted anymore at all. They're all going to lay a little bit more flat and next to each other. They're also, sometimes it's easier for them to have one individual strand get a little bit higher or lower than another. So you might have to like kind of comb them down or kind of tame them a little bit more if you do kind of the 1, 2, 3 and then put them together way. Try both ways and see which way works the best for you. I tend to like them a little bit more twisted together, but they do become untwisted the more that you use them. So you're kind of getting like best of both, you know? So what we're going to do now is do a knot. So I'm going to do the quilter's knot first, and then I'll show you the other knot after. So what you're going to do is put your thread over top of your needle like this and put your thumb on it like that. Yeah? And you're going to twist it around maybe 2 or 3 times and then hold all of those wraps like this. Not super tight, so you're like clenching it. Just hold it just nicely and firmly like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull your needle and that thread through those wraps, and you're going to get a knot at the end. See? Like that. Okay? So let me just snip it off and I'll show you one more time. I take it right over the top like that and then twist it around. Can you see? And then just hold that with your other finger and then pull this through. So like I said before, no question is a dumb question. I'm not going to laugh. No one's going to say, oh, as if she's answering that again, okay? Honestly, I answer a lot of the same questions over and over and over, and that's totally fine. If I've already answered your question, though, and I say, go back and watch again, it's not to be rude, I promise. It's just because I've already answered, and I want to give other people a chance to answer and ask questions too, okay? If you want to know how many strands, you can always answer that. Someone sometimes will put the answer down here in the box at the bottom. Sometimes people will answer for me, and most times I'll just say it out loud too. So there's that. I just want to show you one more way to do a knot, and that is just the regular old kind of loop and pull, where you make a loop like this, and you put the tail up inside like that. And what I like to do is pull like this. So hold the very end, and you're going to kind of shimmy that knot all the way down to the end. And that way you can get it really, really far down. Sometimes if you've got like 2 strands or 1 strand, you might have to do this a couple times. So you might have to really try and put that knot right on top like that. Okay. And lastly, someone's already asked about my finger. It's not a bruise. Miles had one of those verruca warts on the bottom of his foot, 2 of them. And it was not going away. And so we ended up having to go to the foot doctor, and he gave some like super serious wands that had some like stuff on the end, and you had to get it wet. But once you got it wet, it basically like burns your skin off. So I've got it on me a couple times. So if you saw some past videos, I've got it like on my hand here, or I've got it on my fingernail. This actually was all the way down here when I did it, and it's grown out. So I'm really sorry, but that's what it is. Because I've had a couple people message and be like, are you okay? And yes, I am okay. So what we're going to do now is the satin stitch 3 strands. I'm going to zoom it in so that you can see it clearly. What I also like to do when I'm doing a satin stitch is to make little guidelines. These are so small that we really don't need to do it for these ones. But we're going to do just a regular parallel satin stitch. Okay, so we're just going to fill up the area with our satin stitch, we want to keep them next to each other like this, not crisscrossing, not on an angle or anything like that. We're just going to fill up each of these little sections. Let me tighten that, and then we're going to go. So you can start on towards the center like this, or you can start on the end of the petal if you want to. Okay, and then typically with satin stitch, we work from one side to the other side continuously. Okay, so you always come up on one side, always go down on the other side. The other thing is that sometimes you can do a thread saver satin stitch, and I'll show you that as well. So let's go, I like to go down the middle first and then work on each side. So following the outside line of your petal in whatever shape that you did it. Okay, and we're trying to make these just like one thread length apart so they lay nicely next to each other. Okay, so I've done 3 stitches so far. I'm going to go to the other side and see about this side, and then we can have a little look and see what the shape is. You can always save a satin stitch if you really mess it up with an outline. So if you feel like, oh my goodness, I've done such a bad, like this is not nice. We can always do an outline on it later, okay? So it's not going to be like a huge deal. I'm just adding one more stitch on this side and one more stitch on the other side. I'm going to go down that same hole for that one. Okay, so it has a nice kind of curved look to the edges. And then we're going to do the same for all of those big leaves. I don't know if it would help if I kind of marked them, but we're going to do all these thick ones like this. Okay, and that's all we're doing today. So we're doing just the thick ones with a regular satin stitch. And that's it. So I'm going to fill these up. Ooh, that went down the same hole. I didn't mean for that. Now, with 3 strands, it's a nice number that if you do mess up, you can add a couple extra stitches and you're not going to get like it looking really like thick and chunky. So if you go over it like a lot of times, sometimes your embroideries can start to look really thick and like almost like you're just trying to cover up a space and not that you've like stitched it nicely. Almost like you're covering up a mistake or something. Where when you do 3 strands or less strands, sometimes it's nice because it covers the area quickly and nicely. They all lay flat still. But if you do mess up, you can put a couple extra stitches in and no one's going to be like, huh, what happened to that one? So I'm just going to show you how to do the thread saver satin stitch now. And that's where you come up on one side and down on the other side. And then you come up on the same side and then go back down to the other side. So you're kind of going like here, then up here, over, down, over, up, over, down. Okay? This way, it does save a lot of thread. However, sometimes you can unstitch a stitch if you are working and you accidentally go down the same hole, like I've done a couple times already. But also sometimes your threads, they don't lay as nicely. So I tend to do a mix of the 2 of these, the thread saver version and the regular version, just because sometimes it's easier to put your needle up somewhere where maybe there's not any knots there, or maybe you're running out of thread and you're like, oh my goodness, I really don't want to cut a whole nother length and then split it in half just to do like 3 stitches. So I'm just going to quickly flip it over so that you can see what I mean. So these 2 petals here, I've done the regular satin stitch and you can see it's the same. Oh, sorry. It's the same on the front and the back. Okay. So if they lay, I need to get like a pointer or something, because it keeps focusing on my hand instead of on the embroidery, you So here it's completely covered on the front, completely covered on the back here. And then this one, you only got these little side steps here, here, and here, and then on the bottom, here and here. So you really only have full coverage on the front. So it's something to think about. And it's something that you can practice too, because sometimes the threads don't lay nicely, because if you think about it, I can't tell if this is bright or not. You guys will tell me, I'm sure. Just tell me. Just tell me if it doesn't look right. Because what actually happens is when you have a full coverage regular satin stitch that lays all completely on the back and completely on the front, you ended up getting loops that go around like this. Okay, when you have them that are the thread saver one, they kind of go straight like this and then over and then down. So your thread's actually being a bit kinked at the top and the bottom. So sometimes that's the reason that you're not getting a really nice smooth satin stitch. It has nothing to do with you or practicing or anything like that. Sometimes if you turn your needle a bit, it can make it like actually like turn it, you know, like twist it a bit. It can make it a bit better, but most of the time I save it for if I'm in a bit of a pinch. So if I'm running out of thread, if there's a lot of knots or something in a specific area, so therefore I need to put my needle down someplace else, that works really well as well. So there we go. This is satin stitch with 3 strands. I've shown you which ones we're going to do today, and that's literally it. That's all we're doing. So there you go. Feel free to go about your day. I probably won't do all of them. I'll just do maybe these last 2, and then we'll do the book next. But let me know if you have any questions at all, and I'm always happy to answer. I've also got some more names to write tonight, so if you're waiting for your name, I know. Okay? It is coming, I promise. What else? I think I've covered everything. If I've missed something, then just tell me. Be like, oh my goodness, tell me about this. Or if you have any questions, like troubleshooting questions, you can do that too. Just tell me. That's kind of what the live videos are here for, so that you can ask away and I can try to explain a little bit better than I can in my DMs. This is a fairly simple stitch, but I think some people find it really difficult because of the laying of the threads and how they lay flat or not. Sometimes people have issues because they use all 6 strands when they should be using less in an area. And sometimes people have trouble because they're not putting the needle down in the right place. So like their actual placement isn't great. So you can also take your needle and do like a little rake through it. So as if you're kind of like raking, you know? So take the the pointy part and just do a little, almost like you're brushing the hair. Just do a little rake through. I feel like it separates the strands a little bit and makes it so that if you've got like a little kinky one, I think I'm gonna have just enough thread to finish this one. So there we go. I'm literally gonna have just enough to do this flower. How perfect is that? Now, lots of people ask about what to do with your other threads. So obviously we've used 3 strands for this. What about the other 3? What I would do is keep all of the threads that you use for a special project in a special place. And that's all of the little strands as well, because you can always use it somewhere else in our embroidery and it'll make it look super cohesive. So whether that's like French knots for a center in another flower, or there's going to be a time later where we do little details, and I'm going to show you some little detail flowers. So like tiny little flowers that you can just kind of put here, 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 or a little cluster here or there. Makes it look a little bit, fancy. But you can use these same colors that you're using here in other places, and you can dot them around and it'll make it look really nice and cohesive, like you've planned it from the beginning, but actually you're just grabbing colors as you go. Okay. I did talk a little bit about colors yesterday, but find a place that you can put them. I like to put them in like a ball jar. So I've got one of these little tiny ones. In the advent calendars in the past, I've given these things out. So it's like just a little jar, and you can take all your little bits and bobs out. Oh my God, I have so many. Okay. And then put them in there as you're going, so that for this project, I have this color in there so far. That's the color that I've used. And then the actual color that you do use, you can put it in a Ziploc bag, or you could put it in a little basket. That's what I tend to do. I've given all my baskets to the kids though, so I've just got these little things left. But things like that are super, super easy, because then you're not constantly pulling tiny little bits from other places. And then you end up with something that's a little bit different than maybe what you wanted. So at the very last thing we're going to do is tie a knot. So when you do your knot, I like to do the round, okay? And you put it up, your needle up through there, and then hold on. Let me just zoom her in, okay? Let's do it again. So you're going to do a little loop like that, okay? Put your needle up through, and then hold on to where your thread has come out of your fabric, like that. And then you're going to just kind of pull, and it makes your knot super close to your fabric, okay? So again, you're just going to go like that, pull it. All of them, please. And this one. Okay, the other way you can do it is, some people like to separate their threads and just do a regular knot like this. So you just go like that. I'm gonna do 2 and 1, obviously, because we have 3 strands today. Okay, just do like a little double knot and then snip. Some people don't like to knot it at all, so they will just pass their needle and thread underneath like this a couple times, different ones, obviously with thread on it, underneath, back and forth, or underneath this way and then kind of up and up and up, so that it's kind of twisted around, and they don't like knots on the back, and then they just snip it off. So it depends on what you like. Both ways are okay. Let's see, have I covered everything? But that's literally all we're doing. So you've drawn your flower, you've done 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, especially if they're small, you can do 4, like that. You can do the sideways version like this, or you could do the full version like this. And the only things that we're stitching are these bits here. Again, I need like a pointer. I need a nice little pointer. These red bits, okay, the thick ones, and it's a satin stitch with 3 strands. Questions? Have we got any questions, class? All right, message me if you have any issues, or you can comment on this video and I will come back to it. I will also try my very, very best to get all of the videos up the night before I go to bed for that day onto YouTube. Okay, so the first 2 videos are already up there. That is the first video for the book and the first video for the bow one. Okay, they're already up on YouTube, so if you have any issues at all, go and check there, and it should be there. Okay, so I cannot wait to see what you've drawn. Tag me, please, please, please tag me. I'll be sharing them in my stories, and I'm gonna do a little reel with people's embroideries that they've done, and let's do a little giveaway. Shall we do that? Maybe at the end of each week on a Sunday night. If you send me a picture of what you've done, I'll enter you for some store credit. How about that? Like 15 pounds store credit? That would be nice, wouldn't it? That sounds good. Okay, so that's what we'll do. So yeah, on Sunday, make sure you send a picture before Sunday, and I will keep them all in my phone. And yeah, we can do a little giveaway at the end of each week. So enjoy. I hope that you love this so far, and I will see you guys tomorrow. All right, bye.